Yes, so as I was saying, this is a bit of a detour for us as a brand, and I'm very happy that we have a wonderful partner, a very accomplished partner to start this journey with. A lot of the women we work with, are working professionals. I think most of you in the room would be having a career, and at some stage in your work life, you would have come across the words like personal branding, power, and being the only one in the room. How do you tackle with such scenarios, such situations? I think it has a very direct impact on something that Womoneysta is also constantly trying to achieve, which is building more confidence when it comes to finances for women to speak up, own their wealth. And I think the other part of the conversation is as you own your wealth, you also learn to own your power, which is why we have Vidhi, who's the founder of A Degree Above, who has been so kind from the first conversation that we had, something which was totally like two parallel tracks. She's managed to put something very interesting together for all of you, for our community, as a special request, which I had shared with her. So, just to introduce Vidhi, she has a very, very accomplished background and a very long introduction which she has shared with me. But I will keep it brief. I'll tell you the key things which stood out when I started interacting with Vidhi. One, she is definitely somebody who has the experience on ground, having worked with several large organizations and doing projects with companies like Hindustan Unilever, Reach to Teach UK. She comes from a background in talent, learning, and organization development. And after having done work on the ground, she started this company, A Degree Above. They work with several high profile companies, high growth companies, to help them build capacity, to help them understand how simple, digestible for someone even like me, who has not been exposed to so much of such technical things on the other side. So, thank you so much, Vidhi. I will leave you to add more to your introduction. But yes, let's start with our conversation today about everything to do with owning our power. Thank you so much for doing this for our community.
Thank you so much, Neha. This was it was really kind of you to have us here, and thank you for this lovely introduction. I think I completely agree with you. I think to start off with, just the way that we started the conversations, and we were able to just organically build on this space as as an area where both of us see that synergy, and we both feel so strongly about. I think this is a session I'm really excited about. Lovely to have all of you over here, and I'm looking forward to a very interactive, very free flowing conversation around this topic, which is really so close to our hearts, whether we are working professionals, whether we are running a business like Neha or myself, or just as homemakers, right? It's something which is important in all of the conversations that happens throughout our lives. So really excited to hear about your views, your thoughts, and then of course, we'll be bringing in some of our learning and our frameworks, and that's how we want to keep the conversation going. I have a slide deck, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to present, and that's just the anchor. But would love to hear from all of you as well while we are speaking. Great. So, New Year, we thought this is a good name to start off with, to keep power in a new lens. And really excited to be interacting with the community here. Just a little bit more about A Degree Above. So, we are a leadership practice. We are based out of Gurgaon, but we also work with clients in different parts of the country and also internationally. Mostly, like Neha mentioned, on pieces around leadership coaching, on building talent, on strengthening talent pipelines. So today, in today's day and age, with it's quite confusing to be in the workplace, and just to be sure how do I conduct myself at a workplace. That's an area where we work extensively with mid to senior level folks, and happy to talk more about that later. One of the things that I wanted to talk about before we even start the conversation today is why does this session matter so much? Why was it so close to our hearts? And when Neha proposed such a session, why was it that we just jumped onto the opportunity? Because this is something that we feel very, very closely. We are a very women-led team. There's another, senior team members of ours who are also women leaders, and we all felt very strongly that it's not a lack of competence, whether it is at a workplace or at home. It's often the way that things are framed in that particular moment. And that is the reason why we wanted to talk about power, not from being able to identify where the anchor lies. A lot of the times, the conversation that we are having around power is a self talk. And that is what today we are going to try and just shift a little bit and see if starting tomorrow we are able to change how we have a relationship with power. So, uh, very quickly, we'll start with a quick icebreaker. Um, Here, if we can have the QR code, Neha, Sarvi, what I want all of you to do is just scan the QR code, and a word cloud will pop up where I just want you to talk about the first thing that comes to your mind when you heard the word power. In a conversation, at a workplace, at home, if you hear the word power, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? And just be free flowing over here. Just talk about whatever, it could be one, two, three things that are coming to your mind, but just mention all of those aspects that are coming to your mind when you hear the word power. And should I stop presenting, Neha?
Yeah, just give me a second. It's just reloading. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
In the
All
meantime, you
right,
can all.
ladies, let's have some fun. Let's put it up on this QR code. You can scan it, and we'll have a word cloud here. As we do in every session, my one quick request is be as candid, open. I think Vidhi is also would love to know a little bit more about all of you. Are you able to scan this code? Are you all able to type in? Can you please check? No? Yes? Maybe? Yes? Okay. Sorry,
Ma'am, is
Aruna.
it possible to
Okay, I have people who are, I need to mute.
Okay, it's working.
Thanks, Neha. Okay, got it. Yeah, I have
एक
somebody typing,
वेबिनार
so it's
में डाल
working.
दिए
Okay. Somebody has also mentioned on the chat, responsibility comes to mind.
Okay.
Sushmita, yes. I know. It seems like a heavy word, right? I can see a few. I think four people have joined. Somebody is typing.
Some issue with
Very
my feed.
If you want to just unmute and talk about this also, feel free. If you're or
One
you want
second,
to type in
Vidhi.
the chat. Is it easier to type in the chat, Neha? Is it
Maybe. One second. Just give me one more attempt. I will see why it is not showing up on my feed. I can see a lot of people are. Okay.
oh nice, okay.
Okay, it's taking way longer than it usually does. Sorry. Maybe you all can just type it out in the chat box, I think. Let's not wait
Yeah.
for technology to deter the conversation.
You just had to say it, and everybody is
Yeah, I think
starting
it's
to post. It
so
was
what do you feel? Yeah, let's just go for it. The word
lovely,
power.
lovely.
And you can unmute and talk as well. We're a small group, no problem. Till the time there's no background noise, I'm good. Power means authority, influence. Vidhi, you can see the responses.
Yeah, I know. Getting things done. I'm just mulling over this, what Kalyani you've mentioned, getting things done. Uh, and
You want me to say?
it's something, it kind of brings that responsibility onto you, but at the same time, you're in control to get things done because you have that power.
Yes.
Capacity to direct or influence the course of one's life. Very interesting, Garima. Fearless. Decision making. And there's somebody who's mentioned something very interesting. Game. Tejaswini, what is this? I'm curious to know.
Power is a game.
Actually, in my office, I often see that people use power and play games like politics, a lot of
You are
politics using
you're
power.
so right. Absolutely. I think you've resonated with
The
lots of
power
people
game.
here. Power play.
Yeah, power play.
Yep. We'll talk more about this too. Politics.
Folks,
Somebody said it.
the word cloud is active actually, so now I'm very happy it's happening. If you all
Oh,
want to put it
yay.
here, it'll be so cool.
Awesome.
I like that someone has written this woman has in her, if I read WER as her in the word power. So it's basically she already has power. It's so cool.
Yeah. And then it means an inherent, you've
Power
actually
means more
nailed,
work also.
like somebody mentioned at the top, right? Responsibility.
Yeah.
Power is the capacity to direct.
Winning.
Yeah. And a lot of people have said influence and authority. Lots of us feel the same way about this. I like the word winning. I really like that. Okay, super, super. So while we are having some of these, uh, let's. So while now we've kind of put names to or labels to what power is, let's try and make it a little bit more tangible, shall we? Uh, I want you to do another activity, and I want you to just find an object around you. Take 30 seconds if you want to just walk around and find an object, and look at the object that kind of signifies power to you. Okay, I'm not going to give you hints right now. Uh, and I will share my screen again so that you remember what has to be done. Um, so you have to just go look at an object which reminds you of power, which signals all of these things that we mentioned, which signals influence, authority, winning, being fearless. Pick up an object around you, and that could have an indirect connection. Now, I'll just give you an example. I'm going to pick up a pen because to me, being able to write what I feel and I feel strongly about is something which is very, very important. I write a lot on LinkedIn. I write about my views and my thoughts and my opinions. And that gives me that power that I'm in control. And it could mean different things for each of you. So I'm going to just stop sharing again for a moment. And I want you to switch on your cameras and just hold up that object that you have. It could be a pen, it could be a book, it could be anything else that jogs your imagination and makes you feel, this is something which makes me feel that this is giving me strength or it's giving me some amount of clarity
Of
in what I have to
thoughts.
do. Yeah. Oh, phone.
Hello, ladies, the ones who put their videos off. You need to show things. So put on your videos. It's okay if you're not looking like glam or whatever. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. We're all in weekend mood.
Unglam is all welcome. अच्छा घड़ी आ गई है फिटबिट है हाँ
Yeah.
फिट टाइप ही है
Control.
ना some Apple Watch or some one of those fancy thingies ना See, I'm very poor with this huh? So don't judge my inability to what about the others
Come on, we can't see your objects.
yeah,
You can hide your
yeah.
face and just show the object. That's also fine.
Or you can't find an object around you which indicates power
Neha, are you showing the
I'm showing
Neha
my
Katyal?
phone
Huh?
it's very simple
Oh, yeah.
Neha Katyal is also showing what are you showing unmute and tell what is it pen
Oh, I thought.
Peter
Bell.
bell
Bell.
Ah.
I have power to call people Bell.
Oh,
Oh, God.
perfect.
I
I
can't
like this
believe,
one.
can't believe there are people who are still calling people with bells.
Makes sense. Makes
I'm
sense.
saying that's cool. This is how it happens.
Suvarna, you were holding something which.
Specs she's holding up.
This is my
Ah.
specs.
Yeah.
Oh, very,
Tell
very nice.
why you think that's power? So she's calling people, Neha's calling people.
Once what happened, my specs fell down the metro. And for the rest of the day, I went blind.
That's such a
It was
powerless
dependent on
feeling.
other. Yeah.
No, I can imagine uh, this is a good take on power. I can't switch on the video. Oh, no problem. But I use daily reminder books. Very, very interesting. Thanks, Kalyani. For me, it's the mirror. It's a bit of aspiration. Ah, okay. No problem. No problem.
Sushmita's also mentioned I'm in the metro having only mobile with me. Yeah, see, I think Sushmita and I kind of have
Ah,
it's partisan for me. I think it's a lot to do with the ability to uh, gain knowledge quickly because I'm in the work of knowledge. The faster we are able to see what's happening in the world, the faster we're able to produce output which is valuable for our clients. So I think for me, that's why I picked up the phone, not for Instagram doom scrolling.
absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Anybody else wants to
Prajakta
share?
has something very nice mirror. Tell me why
Yeah.
mirror is power? And look into my eyes and I see love. Something like that.
Oh, no, it's
So,
Project that you want to share.
yes, so hi Neha, hi Didi.
Right.
Mirror is a bit of aspiration, because I see myself and I really feel that, okay, it grounds me back or it centers me back to myself. And, that's how I feel a little more in control or so or something of that sort. But I definitely want to
Nice.
feel more powerful, and that's why it is aspirational as well. Yeah.
Very, very nice. Love that.
Lovely.
Oh, so
I
Amrita
never
says,
thought that a mirror could be a power tool, by the way. That's such a different way to look at it. So thank you for sharing that.
Amrita says, my power is also my writing and my voice. Although for grabbing the object, I picked up my watch because time is power for me as well. That is so, so profound. And this is a very interesting, different way of looking at power. Garima, keys to my home, that's where you're most powerful.
Tejaswini says fit watch what you're sharing. The fitness is very important to be powerful, and time is very, very important. So we have time showing up.
Very good.
That's very
Oh, I love this video. Yoga mat. Because
health.
that's the, oh, you should have held up the yoga mat. That would have been really interesting.
I think next time I should tell them in advance that videos will need to be on. That
Ah,
helps, huh? Ladies,
Anna?
give me a thumbs up if that's going to help next time. I'll make sure that we give you a advance notice. Yeah? Yeah, maybe
Oh, everybody is saying yes.
videos are supposed to be on. I think that needs to now start going out.
Absolutely. Lovely. So this is a lot of very, very interesting ideas. Thank you so much, all of you. And thank you so much for sharing such interesting different perspectives. The next activity also requires video, so I'm just going to skip that one. But I think what
Oh, but
this
I think we should at least indicate what. I know that that activity also had video, but why don't you tell them what you wanted to do, what them to
Okay,
do?
okay, great. So what I wanted everybody to do in the next activity is to switch on your videos and just take a power pose. And that power pose doesn't always have to be like a Wonder Woman, the strong power pose, but it is something which you yourself can feel comfortable in. This is a safe space today. And within all of us, however you feel comfortable taking that pose, which reminds you of all of these things we just talked about, of influence, of control, of things that, I'm important, my fitness, my appearance, all of these things are important to me. Just take a moment and take that power pose. Those of you who can switch on the camera, it's great. We would love to see that. It could be your eye contact, it could be your sitting posture, your shoulders. If you want to stand tall, do that, feel free. But just switch on the cameras and let's take a quick power pose. Let's go.
I don't think any cameras. Oh, Tejaswini put on her camera again. Okay. She
Ah,
puts it on for a few seconds, then she shows her जैसे कि अभी मैं
yeah. This is my power pose. I love that. Super. Thank you so much, Tejaswini.
no, with you
Anybody
not
else?
getting any other videos on. I think maybe you should move to your deck. I can
Yeah.
feel that the room is not going to put on any other videos today. So Varna is the
Oh.
only nice one. Even she's put on a video. She's like, मैं क्यों
No,
अकेले
no,
अपना
no.
video?
Oh dear. Now we can see my screen also. Okay, so since you didn't have the videos, I thought let me just put on some examples at least. Uh, and just to, bring everything together, what we've seen so far is that power can mean different things to different people. And power can also be represented in so many different things, right? It doesn't have to be in one particular way. Now, ever since we were such a, and especially I think as women in Indian households, we've been conditioned to think about power in a certain way. Uh, and if we just think about some of those stereotypes, uh, it is important to put those stereotypes away for a moment and just realize that power doesn't have to be anything which is aggressive. It doesn't have to be anything which is loud or strong or, just overbearing, over the top. It can be something that's quiet, graceful, elegant, impactful. And the things which are coming out as common themes from all of us here in the room is power is something that needs that amount of control. I'm hearing a lot of you using the word control. I'm also hearing a lot of you saying clarity, having the glasses, having the ability to see things clearly and being in control of the situation. It's also a lot of strength, right? You folks are talking about health and fitness. It's about strength. It's about the ability to do things that you want to do, get things done, right? Somebody had talked about that earlier. That is what power is. And power really has to be authentically owned by, sorry, somebody's sharing something?
No, no. I just
Okay.
muted.
Okay. Um, And the whole idea of today's chat is how do we actually authentically own how I am as a powerful person? Now, I may not come across as a very, aggressive person, but I get things done. And how does that really happen? The second thing that we're going to try and talk about today is how do I despite all the stereotypes and despite all of the the conditioning, start to think about power differently, and somewhere try and unblock things which are holding me back from fully bringing out my own clarity and my own strength. Okay, so we've talked about how power looks like. Let's talk a little bit about bringing a framework to this entire conversation. I've always felt, and I think that's also why Neha and I really connected, because her topic is very technical, and I also try and bring in certain technical aspects. Because without having a framework, a structure to talk about something as vague and fuzzy-duzzy as power, it becomes just another self-talk. It just becomes another motivational speech, which we don't want to do. We want to have a more structured way of thinking so that we are able to separate what is a fact and what is an assumption. So this is one framework that we're going to just talk about today. Just give me a thumbs up if anybody has come across this framework in the past. Just a quick thumbs up if somebody has heard of this framework, used it, seen it. Anybody? Ah, nice. Thanks, Vidhi. The Vidhis are all very interested
I am
in.
glad I wasn't the only one because I am so
Yeah.
happy that I'm not the only one who had never heard of this, Vidhi. See, we have just
Oh,
one more, and I think it's the name. You can
it's the namesake, exactly. Great. So, Vidhi, you
tell
are
us
going to
all.
join me in taking the group through this wherever you feel comfortable. No pushing. Uh, so, as you can see, this is a framework that was designed by a Harvard psychologist, and it is we at least in leadership in HR we use this extensively in order to help in some sort of a decision making. Now, how do I intend to use this uh, over here in our conversation? Okay, first let's try and understand this particular framework. What this framework essentially says is that this scientist is trying to explain this is how my mind is working. And we are looking at a particular situation. We start selectively understanding details. Then we start making assumptions out of the selective details, based on which we start forming certain beliefs, and then we act on those beliefs. Now, let me give a very simple example. Uh, Somebody talked about power play, right? Now, I am at a workplace, I'm in a meeting, and there are a group of people that are, all of us sitting over there. Some particular topic is being discussed. I give an idea. The moment I give the idea, there is silence. Everybody starts to become quiet or starts looking into the phone. What does that do to me? You want to reply on the chat or just unmute quickly? What does that do to me? So that's the event that I have described.
It hampers confidence, if we are right, we're not right, whatever.
Perfectly fine. So that's, I think, thank you so much, Prajakta. So everybody, I think, starts to feel the same way. The moment there is silence, I start picking out on just that silence. And the third step is I start to make the assumptions, which is what you rightly said, Prajakta, that I start to make assumptions about, oh my God, did I say something very silly over here? Was I not supposed to say this? And so on and so forth. So you start adding more and more layers, which slowly and slowly start eroding the confidence. And all that is happening is that you've selected certain things and you've made assumptions. Okay, right now you have no idea why there was silence in the room, and then on the basis of that you start forming a belief that I should not be giving any further ideas, and my reaction to that ultimately becomes that my presence in in the meetings and so on after this becomes very, very muted. Now, what is the flip side to this? The flip side could also be that there is some particular meeting in which I have given an idea and there is silence. Now, Anybody over here, just get your minds all imaginative and give me 3 reasons why there could be silence in the meeting, not related to you. Why that silence should not be related to you. Any 3 vague random ideas. Let's go. 1.
Maybe they didn't understand the concept.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kalyani. Perfect. They didn't understand what you were saying and they were Googling. So, if I'm saying who's heard about ladder of influence and there's silence, and everybody just opened the phone and started to Google. Okay. What else? Can somebody read the chat because I'm not able to? Yeah, mulling over
I'll
things.
read it. I'll read the chat. So Jyoti says audience may be distracted and bored. I put an idea saying that HR just released an email on salary hikes. So everybody just went over that. So they got distracted basically, like similarly what Jyoti said.
Yeah.
Vidhi says they are mulling over the idea, mulling over the insight.
Yes.
That was just shared.
Yeah, that's the most positive. They're trying to
Trying to
understand.
understand what is said.
Yes, I could see that one. Ruchis. Thanks, Neha. That's really helpful. So great, great. Just in 30 seconds, we are able to bring out 4, 5 very good reasons why there was silence in the room, which is delinked from what you said or what you did. It is to do with HR or other distractions. It is to do with their own understanding of the idea. It is to do with their own understanding of what do I do next. Now, the same ladder is working in their head also. Remember, they don't want to be talking. Silence could be because of self doubt, the fear of being shamed. Yeah, absolutely. They just be there. So the same thing is happening in their head. They don't want to say something which makes them feel silly. But at the same time, what am I doing? I am thinking that this silence is because of me and not because of the other persons. And in that moment, in that seconds, this ladder is climbed up and down. And in that moment of seconds, I am not geared up to actually consider any other possibility. I'm only looking at that immediate data that's coming to my mind and not even considering the other possibilities that could have happened. So, any other thoughts here before we move on to the next? Okay. So, the problem that we identified over here is that the brain is geared up or it is conditioned in such a way that we will fill those immediate thoughts or ideas with whatever has happened to us in the past. Just pause on this for a moment, reflect on some of those situations. You don't need to share if it is too personal, but think about some of those times when we have been in a room and we faced certain pushbacks. And that is the time when our brain has immediately gone back to some past experience of what really happened to us. And that assumption suddenly in that moment becomes my reality. It is something which could or could not be true, but suddenly it just becomes so true that I'm living and feeling that particular moment. And that is the story that I'm telling my brain. And before I know it, it is just driving my actions. And my action in that case in the meeting was that I just go quiet and I don't bring my presence. What was the thing that I could have simply asked? This is so there is a lot of silence. Is there any? Do you want me to explain this idea again? Right? Or any other lighter thing to change the topic? But I went quiet, and that is most of the times because of my own inner talk and my own assumptions here. Now, because we don't have too much of time today, so I'm going to quickly jump onto what is it that we can start doing about it starting tomorrow. Right? That's one of the things that at a degree above we really believe in, that anything that we're talking about in our sessions, in our conversations or coaching, it's something that we should be able to start doing tomorrow and not like in 3 months or 6 months, because then you just don't remember those things. The simple thing to do is slow down. The first and the simplest thing to start doing is whenever we are in a situation where we feel pushed back or conflicted or challenged, the first thing to do is just slow down. And that ladder of influence, which is working in seconds, if we can slow it down to a minute, that itself is going to start showing up all these answers, which you shared right now in the chat. That these are the different reasons why there is silence, or these are the different reasons why somebody is pushing back. And that itself is going to start throwing up the facts, some of those facts. What else could be true, right? And that is going to start giving me some of those responses which will help me stay grounded. Okay. The idea here is once I'm slowing down, I can see things more clearly, because just remember this, if you're sitting in a very, very fast train, right? Everything around you is a blur. If you're in a bullet train, things around you just moves past in a blur, right? So if you are also walking at that pace, or your brain is walking at that pace, it is going to be a blur. What you need to do is slow down, and that is what is going to make things around you clearer and help you understand what else can be a possibility here, right? Any questions, any thoughts, any experiences you want to share at this stage before we get to the next? Super. And feel free to bring in your examples here as well, because what I'm going to do in this particular slide is just talk about a few situations. We talked about one, right? We talked about one situation at work. Now we'll just talk about three different situations where we feel such a pushback or a conflict does happen. And then how do we reframe the response? Power, essentially, like we said earlier, is not about being aggressive. It is about finding your own ground and finding your own authentic space. And that happens by reframing what's happening around me. The first situation is where we talked about, somebody going silent. And let's assume the assumption was that I'm not really confident. Now, what is the reframe over here? We said, what else can happen over here? And then the response slowly becomes, is it showing up? Is the animation showing up, or sorry, it's just not
Yes, yes.
updated.
It's
It is?
not it's not come completely, but it's okay. Vidhi, can you just
Ah,
remove the lower tab? It says that app Zoom is sharing your screen. Can you just hide that? Because it's coming
ah,
in the.
ah,
Thank you.
thanks. Okay, great. So now I can see it's gotten refreshed. Super. So this was the first situation we talked about. Now I'm going to give the second situation, and I would love to see some responses from you. Okay. Now, let's say we are running a business, and whatever the product we are selling, and there are tough questions which are coming from the client. Okay, or the client is being very skeptical about my particular product, and not very confident in terms of what we can deliver. So clearly, the immediate default that is coming to my mind is that there is doubt in the mind of the client, and the doubt is regarding me as a person. What reframe do you think? Any thoughts over here? What is it that if I slow down and I start thinking about the situation slightly differently, selectively pick different parts of the story, what reframe do you think I can do over here? Any thoughts when I'm in the conversation with the client? Feel free to add to the chat or unmute. You need to have insights and data to help clarify.
So I
Yes,
can
because
I can step in because I do run a company and I run a business which is quite focused on trust. And
yes,
this is
thank
very
you.
normal. This is very normal. Initially, like we had people who would, when I ran sessions for days at end, and there would be women who would come back and say, is this person even SEBI registered? Like, what's her qualification? And they would have a conversation like that with me or my team. And of course, you know, for a moment, it confuses you, it bothers you. But I think what I do recognize, having worked now in this space for 5 years, is that it is natural. I mean, we work with HR leaders who will come up from a place that they don't know who you are. And it's perfectly normal for someone to want to know better about you, your service, your product, because you might love your product, you might know what you're worth, but someone else cannot see the worth till you create insights, data, systems. Why should someone, love that product which you love so much? So, as a business person, I feel like, and the more comfortable you get with people doubting you or having questions, I love those clients now. I feel like they really then invest in you. They ask good questions and they invest in you because they understand you better because you have gone through that difficult conversation and journey with them. So and it's a long answer, but yeah, I feel this is such an important piece and it's something I've felt personally. So just wanted to share.
Thank you so much, Neha. I think it was really, really important to get that perspective uh, because running a business and facing multiple different clients every day in, day out, I completely resonate with that. Brilliant. And I'll probably add to that a little bit later. Just want to see if there are any other responses. I think Jyoti had something in the chat that I probably missed.
She's
Anybody
talking
else?
about product development. So brainstorm about the feedback. So if people have a doubt about the product, then brainstorm about the feedback. I think Tejaswini is saying that pen down the responses to questions from customers. Yeah, I think
Yep.
similar, right? Having a like you should
Process.
be able to preempt that, yeah, this will be an obvious question someone will ask me. And it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with you as an individual or personal. I think this is a very important insight.
Absolutely. And the important thing that I think all of you have said, empathy, where they're coming from, yeah. And I think all of you are pointing towards one thing, that it's important to de-link yourself from that skepticism and that question. That question, like Neha's, she shared that this is something which is natural. This is something which they have to do. And it is not because you are on the other side. Even if, instead of Neha, it was me on the other side, they would be asking the same question. So it is not, it is important to separate the person from the problem, like we say, or the question itself over here. And the second thing, which is very interesting, that all of you are also interestingly bringing up here, is backing it up with some sort of a process, data, insight, and that is going to give you the strength or the clarity that is going to make sure that this is grounded, your questions, your product, your process or service is grounded in something. Just to also add to what Neha had shared, so I also, would face such tough questions. And in our line of work, we don't have a product. It's a service, right? We are going out, we're giving a session, or we are facilitating something over here. What typically works is testimonials. Some other client coming back and showing that confidence in our work, and that is what really works for us. And that's the chain. So it's not ever about the fact that the problem is me, but shifting that frame again. Lovely. Let's do this one more time with something in a more personal, closer home sort of a situation. Um, a lot of us also sometimes, get questioned sometimes around personal finance. A particular item has to be, or some investment has to be made. Uh, and that is, I may bring in my ideas to the table, but at home those are going to get questioned. How is it that this is going to work? I don't think this is going to be a good enough investment for the family. The immediate way for a lot of us to think about is, maybe I'm not good with money, and maybe I should not be having this conversation at all. Maybe I should not be getting involved in personal finance conversations at all. But what is the reframe that we can build over here? Any thoughts, ideas, conversations here? Go on, you can add in the chat.
In my case, I keep my research ready, like why this investment is good and why it is important. And if the other person it doesn't agree with it, take a step back, go back to my research, and again I am very persistent about it. And finally, after two, three tries, I succeed mostly.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tejaswini. And really, a lot of power comes from knowledge. Uh, totally agree with you. This is, especially on technical aspects like this, being armed with knowledge, I think is really, really interesting. Somebody had a very, another response talking about being the youngest. I could just read that much. Being the youngest person. Jyoti, you were saying something?
I'll read it out.
Uh,
Amrita, just one second, Jyoti. I'll just read this one and then I'll come to you. Amrita has written, being the youngest among the leadership of my business, experienced ones automatically make decisions, sometimes as they consider age and personal connection and take me for granted instead of considering leadership position. Hmm. It's also
That is,
very relevant.
it's a very, very pertinent point. We work a lot with Gen Z, with young talent, uh, and we talk so much about ageism and how, not having gray hair can be such a problem sometimes at workplace. Uh, and one of the things that we often tell them is about the fact that it's not about how much experience you have behind, but it is about the ways of working. If you are bringing every day that energy, that motivation, and also that discipline, see, somewhere you need to also bridge that gap between a different generation and the younger generation. And I'm saying or the younger generation's ways of working are different from this particular generation. They may be a little bit more conservative. They may be a little bit more traditional about their approaches, and so on and so forth. And without drawing stereotypes here, one of the things which is important to do is really closely observe. We make them, actually draw out their stakeholders and very, very closely observe this particular person that you want to connect and influence with. Because then only you'll be able to identify a certain bridge, something or the other is going to connect between two people. Like I'll just give you an example. Between Neha and I, we are from very, very different lines of work. Very pure finance, technical person, and I'm from an human resources, talent, sort of very fuzzy-duzzy sort of a background. But we found something which was very, very common, or we felt that this was something we were both passionate about, in terms of helping women unlock their potential in certain aspects. Similarly, even as the youngest person, bringing that energy and drawing that bridge between one person and the other, and starting to talk that language, starting to build some level of connect and rapport, and then slowly being able to influence from there is what we normally talk about in the workshops as well. Jyoti, but thanks for that. Thank you so much, Amrita. Would love to talk more about these things. Jyoti, I think you had something to share.
Yeah, I put it up on chat, but this on personal finance, I think one should have the ability to, not ability, the liberty to make mistakes because firstly, it is the money that you yourself have earned. So it is, like no one can, not no one can question you about it, but I think, if you have earned it, you should have the liberty to make some mistakes at least. Otherwise, how do you even like, like if it's a new product like mutual funds and all that, how do you even trust it? Like it's a new product, like you have to have the ability to try out new things and make mistakes and learn, right? So I think we should have space for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in a safe environment, with certain stakes, and I'm sure Neha is an expert on this, to guide you, but I completely agree. The ability to be able to experiment, and pivot. So if something is not working, quickly pivot. Thanks, Jyoti. I think Ishita in my personal situations. Okay, Neha, you have to help me read that. It was
All right. Ishika says, in my personal experience, what's helped me in such situations is the willingness to learn, even when I don't have prior experience or knowledge about something. I think, Ishika, you're talking about the money part or the age part?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, since you were talking ki if anyone has personal experience, right? Have experience prior to this, and being youngest in my house, that I think they already take their decisions because they have the experience. But I think ever since I have started earning, that responsibility has come in. So I think that power also comes in with that. And I think when I show the willingness to learn, even if I don't have prior experience, they then start taking my opinion seriously. Otherwise, it is taken for granted. I think that is something that I've noticed. So,
absolutely one of the things that is very interesting, Ishika, from what you're saying. It just comes to my mind is unless you have skin in the game, the power equations also do not sit equally well. If somebody is sitting from far behind or just in the passenger seat and trying to run things, they're not really seen as somebody being in control. Or can I even give power to this person? Can I even let this person take control? Unless you are in the driver's seat and unless you are willing to take responsibility, like we said in the beginning, with it comes responsibility. The brilliant point that you've.
I 100% agree. I mean, on this age thing, even experience thing, I think just showing up, and I mean, to Amrita's point, I just want to add, I know Suvarna, you're waiting. Just 1 second. Just a thing I wanted to add is from the age perspective, we work with a lot of young women. I teach a lot of young women, and I can tell you what always stands out for me personally is uh, when young people, they don't just show intent, they also start showing some responsibility. They start taking up something proactively. I think it shows the older generation or us with that experience that I can now give this person some amount of leeway. I can listen into them because you've got to earn that respect. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Experience is not that there is some arrogance with it. Experience also means you've got to earn. I've worked hard to have that experience behind me. I know these things. So you've got to earn it. And that should be the focus of a young person. Results matter. I mean, that's at the end of the day, results matter. You show results in a business. I am telling you, people will ask you for opinions. If you're not able to deliver results, I mean, and even for us, by the way, even after 20 years of experience, if we can't deliver results, we are not going to be worth anything at our workplace either, right? It's very simple. It's a hard truth, but that's how it is, unfortunately.
Absolutely, totally, 100% agree, Neha. I think uh, it's something which every young person needs to hear, and the sooner we're able to engage, the sooner we're able to, like you really, I like the word that you use. Just show up and be there. That's something which is so important.
Yes, Suvarna,
Brilliant.
go for it. Suvarna has something to share. She has a hand up for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we can go back
so
here.
I just feel if we think about all this, like it's about if someone is questioning you, so there's a people think that it can be conflicting, but I think conflict only brings the growth. So like everyone said that experience, we should respect the experience at times also. So if I'm taking some decision of investing my money in mutual fund or doing an SIP or whatever, and if someone is questioning that, what is your knowledge about it? And maybe that person, that senior person, can have a better suggestion for me. So it's all for my. It can be from a goodwill perspective. So
Very
if
nice.
we
I think
have
taking
this
it in
thing, yeah,
humility to some extent also. I think
exactly.
what you're saying is, yeah.
And
Yeah,
also
yeah.
others
That's a,
appreciate when we respect their experience, and yeah,
It's
and we
easier
are
to
open for
definitely
suggestions.
communicate when you are respecting someone's experience. I agree with that.
Yeah,
It's easier to
and that's
communicate for sure.
yeah,
that's a very interesting point, Swarna, that conflict brings growth. And a lot of times when we are being questioned, again, the framing is that, they're just questioning me, but here it's that back and forth which is going to just elevate the whole project, or in this case, like if there's an investment plan, whatever that activity is, just that back and forth, if it's healthy and it's meaningful, that entire thing just gets elevated to something which alone I could not have done, or alone the other person couldn't have done. But together, through this questioning and conflict and healthy discussion, is something which we are able to bring out in a much, much better way. Uh,
Also, I have an example. So recently, I was interning at Live Pure. There's this
mm,
purify company,
mm,
and over there, I was in the Department of International Business and Exports, and I
mm,
had the data of customs. वहाँ पे I had to analyze what competitors are doing and what unit price they are selling their products at, this and that. And then I was working on that data for like 3 weeks, and I made everything. And then my to the person I was reporting to, my boss, she asked me, but why is like this? You have put it like this, there's this. And I was like, oh my God, after all the discussion again, we have to do everything again. And then I was just thinking that, and at that, in that moment, I zoned out. I went into my own, uh, kind of negative thinking, that
mm,
what is this nonsense? Why do I have to do it all again? Or मैं क्या समझाऊं इनको? And then I realized this person is very experienced, and if the data will be correct, and it will be showing the needed insights, then it will be easier for my people, them, to actually present it to the CEO or the MD or whoever, if they are pitching any other product. So then I was like, no, 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 listen, and don't take it on your ego.
absolutely. And
So,
in that one shift, what you've done is that this is going to
because
be a,
because it shows on your face if you're getting irritated,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it impacts the relationship also with the other person.
That is so true. But in the future, what you've really done for yourself is that you now know that this is how is the better way of presenting data. And
Yeah,
that's the one learning that's going to stay with you forever.
yeah.
And it's just going to keep building up from there. So,
Hmm.
and if you have to defend the data now, you have much better tools. You know why this
Yeah,
particular data is presented in this particular way.
yeah.
Uh, Super. Great. I'm loving the conversations over here. It's really, really wonderful. Anybody else who's got their hand up or anything? Any other thoughts and views? Nice. So, also cognizant of the time, and what we are uh, at is towards the end of this session now. Uh, it's a very, very, I think it was a very, very crunched capsule of what power really stands for all of us, how we look at power in different aspects of our lives, and how is it that it can make a difference to what we do and how we bring things together every day. And it's just, I know it's a very, very short session. Was loving a lot of these conversations, but I'm just going to try and bring a lot of the conversations together today in this short time. I think one thing that really stood out for me when all of you talked about that power is something which is about responsibility. It is about being authentic and being accountable and authentic. And it's not something which is out there. It's something which is there in us, in how we are thinking and how we are framing things. This negative talk and the positive self talk, that's something which is very, very important. And from that really flows everything, how we are bringing ourselves into the conversation, our presence, like you said, Swarna, it shows in our faces, in our ways in interacting with people. And that leads to every single action that we are, carrying out. Uh, and with the ladder of inference, I think one of the important things that we talked about today was just how do we slow down and make sure we have a more steadier, grounded, quieter voice, so that inner voice, so that we are able to make sure that we move ahead with more power, clarity, strength, and so on. So, on that note, I think what I would love to see is if you could just talk about one of those things that you are going to start implementing from tomorrow. I would love to see some aspects in the chat over there. And while you
Before
present,
that,
while
Vidhi, we have one or two interesting, like I think Amrita has written something. I just wanted to pick that up with you actually. I
yeah,
think it's
yeah, yeah,
very
yeah, please.
relevant.
Yes.
Amrita, I'm getting this point back because I personally also would love to know. So she's written that true with time and results. So using the previous conversation, with time and
Uh-huh.
results, we make our space, but even after proven results, someone
Hmm.
just overrides just because of being an elder and being a man, thinking about you as
Mhm.
just a young woman who hasn't seen much of the world. It
Yeah.
stings, but it makes me work more smarter to get results. I want your thoughts on this. So, what is one to do in situations where there is result and you are putting in your best, and at the same time, there are people in the room who maybe, because of whatever like reasons,
Hmm.
refuse to see, they're coming from their own baggage. Let's just put it like that. And then what happens?
Absolutely.
So where now
Absolutely.
what's the power play here? What are we supposed to do?
No, this is a classic, Amrita. This is such a classic situation, and what we call as a classic bias situation. And I don't want to label it as a conscious or an unconscious bias. And let's give the benefit of doubt to this gentleman here, who is having the unconscious bias. Okay, so let's say that he or he, let's say, does not himself know that he is being this person who is not able to let in other ideas just because the other person is a woman or is younger, and so on. Some of the things, and this is a very, very short, crunched answer, of course, some of the things that we typically talk about is having a vocabulary. How is it that you're able to speak and present this conversation to the other person to help them realize that there is a bias at play here, right? The other things, of course, all things like you said, there is result, how are you presenting the result, how are you showing up, all of that is happening anyway. But at some level, it is also my responsibility as a person on the other side of the bias to work with this person and say, you need to understand and uncover, unpack your own bias. This could be because of in the past, you've had some bad experience with a younger person, and or you've seen women behave in a certain way in your household. Those things are their responsibility, and we need to help them unpack and go back to those things through very, very gentle conversations. A certain vocabulary, for example, you can go back and ask, push back, and in a very gentle way, of course. That so I've done all of these aspects and these things. I would love to be part of the next project. What do you think that I could do to ensure that I'm being considered over here? And there could be certain pushback, etc. Unpacking that conversation to understand who are the people who would be considered for this, what are some of the things that they have, and slowly helping them realize that there is not much difference in your competence level and their competence level. You know what I mean? uh, that's how we sort of funnel the conversation down to help them get to a point where they realize that, oh, all things equal, I'm just keeping this away because she's younger. Um, Also, I think we talked a lot about aspects about giving confidence to the other person, that this is important for me. This is important for my growth, and I'm willing to go over and beyond to make sure that this project succeeds. So that level of confidence, I think, is really important. And the third thing that we talk about, again, a very, very vast subject, is allyship. You know, who can stand up for you and say that this person will deliver, and that is again a very, very interesting way or route to make sure that we're able to build confidence within the organization for folks.
So it's not that straightforward, basically.
It is a little
No,
it
Ashwini
is
has written
some
a
amount
very
of
good thing. I think something which would be nice, Vidhi, if we all can put this for us, is the vocabulary part. She said it really appeals to me, and if you can share some ways on how to develop such a vocabulary, would be very
100%.
interesting. I think for everyone in the room, if you could work on that, share
100%.
it with the group, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. We will share it with you and via Neha and the team. Absolutely. Any other comments? I think there were some more comments here, or
There is something from Garima when I cannot get to agree to their POV in that moment and they won't change their perspective either to agree with me. And I feel overridden. I just let it go. Not everyone is worth the mind space and at least protect my peace. Within me, I have power.
wonderful, wonderful. I think that's very, very well said. It's beautiful. Great, great. I think I absolutely loved some of the questions, the thoughts, the experiences, and most importantly, really thank you so much for creating a safe space over here so that all of us could bring in our stories forth and learn from each other. I think that was really beautiful. And that shows the power of a strong community. So kudos to you, all of you. We would love to stay connected. These I've just put up some of our coordinates over here. Feel free to connect with us.
So before you all leave, ladies, I have a quick feedback, please. I'm going to launch it. We
Yes.
are constantly trying, testing new things for everyone in the room. Whether you can stop screen share, I think.
Yeah, just done.
I hope you all can see that because we want to do more work in parallel spaces which directly or indirectly help us build more financial confidence, build more overall confidence at the workplace. It's all linked, I think, somewhere. So let's get the feedback in. Feel free to do that. Meanwhile, thank you so much, Vidhi, Garima team for putting this whole thing together. Really was, I think power is such it's not that straightforward a concept to cover in 1 hour, but I think we had a lot of interesting insights to take away. So looking forward to